Nam Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Vasaya Bhutale, Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Namane, Namaste, Saraswati Devin, Gaurvani Kuchurne, Nivishesha Chundavani Pasacha, Desatarane, Sitaram Ki, Shri Prabhupada Ki, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, 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 Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hari Bol. So, what relationships come to your mind when we mention the idea of selfless service? Selfless service. Anything? I don't want. Okay. In our mundane world, mother and child, yes. So I have a question. Can a mother develop love for a child who she's never seen? Not quite. For example, if a mother is going to adopt a child who is in another country, there are many steps they have to go through. Zoom calls, sharing pictures, reading about each other, thinking about each other, and anticipation of what will happen when they finally meet. Yes? When that mother finally gets the adoption approved and she finally meets her newly adopted child for the first time, she is ready to love the child and engage in selfless service. A bond is formed and there is reciprocation between the mother and the child. The child's presence gives pleasure to the mother and she reciprocates with loving, selfless service. Our scriptures tell us that if we read about and think about Krishna, we can form that same kind of bond with him. There is a reciprocation between Krishna and you. Srila Prabhupada tells us that this happens when we read about Krishna, when we talk about Krishna, and when we meditate on him. And therefore, we look forward to serving him more and more. So today, I want us to think about how hearing about the pastimes of Lord Ramacandra helps us to develop a mood of selfless service. Whenever I get the opportunity to speak, I like to do some research, I listen to some classes, I go online, I go to the database, I look for lectures. I saw a quote from Srila Prabhupada that said, Lord Ramachandra's appearance day is a prime opportunity for spiritual advancement and purification. So we want to analyze how we can make some advancement on our spiritual journeys as a result of celebrating Lord Ramachandra's appearance day. So what lessons can we aspiring devotees learn from hearing about the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra that can help to purify our consciousness and help us make advancement? So Prabhupada said, we chant the holy name of Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He said that we also talk about his pastimes, and these pastimes will help to purify our consciousness. What does that mean? It means that as we hear these pastimes, our minds are focused on Krishna, and we see ourselves as his servants, and this helps us to develop a desire to perform selfless service. So let's think about those who play a role in the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. Lakshman, who's that? Anybody know? Lakshman. Okay, Sita? Hanuman? Jatayu? Sugriva? And Jambavan. No? Not familiar? Okay. I remember when my kids were little, I used to listen to a tape on Jambavan. I never knew the connection, but researching for the class, I found it. In the Bhagavatam 5.19.7, Sugriva makes a statement. He says, one can establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of certain qualities, but not material qualities. If you come from an aristocratic family, nothing to do with forming a bond with Lord Ramachandra. If you're beautiful, if you're elegant, if you're intelligent, those are not required. None of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Ramachandra. So Griva said, otherwise, how is it possible that although we uncivilized inhabitants of the forest have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends, servants. When I was doing my research, I was looking everywhere. I found a very interesting article in Back to Godhead magazine. And the name of the article was, Who Can Be a Friend of Lord Ram? In the Ramayana, the story of Lord Ramachandra, we find many examples of great devotees from various backgrounds who selflessly serve him. Even the sage Valmiki, who wrote the Ramayana, was formerly a hunter, but he became a transcendental author of the Lord's pastimes by the mercy of great devotees. When Lord Ram went into exile in the forest, a tribal man named Rupa treated him with deep love and helped him cross a river. Ram, therefore, considered Rupa his dear friend. When Sita Devi was being kidnapped by the demon Ravana, a vulture named Jatayu courageously fought with Ravana to rescue her, and he lost his life in that battle. Later, Ram performed Jatayu's funeral rites, as a son does for his departed father. When Ram and Lakshman were searching for Sita Devi, an old woman named Sabari welcomed Ram with deep affection. To test the quality of berries, she tasted them first And then she offered them to Ram, who ate them happily, reciprocating her innocent yet intense love. And we talk about this. The exchange between the Lord and his devotees, those who want to serve him. There's a reciprocation. Our service may be selfless, but so which means we're not looking for a reward. We're not looking for attention. But we do get reciprocation from Krishna, and that is what keeps us coming back more and more. Sugriva was who? A cow? A what? Sugriva, not Jatayu. Sugriva was a monkey living in the forest and hills, but he became a dear friend of Ram, and he engaged his monkey soldiers in searching for who? Sita Devi, and assisting Ram in his war against who? Yes. Jambavan. Who's heard of Jambavan? What kind of body was he in? Get it, Jambavan. Jambavan was a bear who served Ram in various ways. A small animal, which I didn't know this part, assisted Ram in making a magnificent stone bridge. Smallest animal who was a part of this pastime. Anybody know? A spider, maybe? A squirrel. Okay, maybe a spider, I don't know. A squirrel assisted Ram in making the magnificent stone bridge across the ocean to Lanka by gathering small pebbles and grains of sand. Hanuman was a monkey, yet he was supreme amongst all the servants of Lord Ram. He found Sita Devi in Lanka, and he immersely served Ram in the battle with Ravana. Selfless service. One section of the Ramayana describes the deeds of Hanuman in detail. When Ram and Sita were in lamentation due to separation from each other, Hanuman brought them hope into their lives by giving information to both of them about their beloved. Hanuman's journey from Ram to Sita and from Sita back to Ram was an amazing journey, from hopelessness to hope. Sugriva had sent Hanuman with Jambavan, Nila, Aganda, and other monkeys to search for Sita Devi. Sugriva considered Hanuman the most capable of finding Sita because Hanuman had superhuman strength. He was courageous, he was intelligent, and he was resourceful. Ram was also convinced that Hanuman would find his beloved wife. Who remembers what Ram gave to Hanuman to show to her? He gave his ring to Hanuman, and he said, "My name is inscribed on it. When you locate Sita, give her this ring. She will become convinced that you are my representative." Hanuman's party searched everywhere for Sita, but they could not find her. Disappointed upon reaching the shore of the ocean, they all decided to fast until death. But bringing hope to the monkeys, a great vulture named Sampati, Jatayu's brother, spotted them and told them that Sita Devi was in Lanka, Ravana's abode across the ocean. The monkeys became hopeful and overjoyed. But a wave of disappointment overwhelmed the monkeys because they saw what? Why would they become disappointed? The ocean, yes. As they saw the expanse of the ocean, none of them felt confident to jump across that wide ocean that stretched for many, many miles. But seeing the monkey's dejection, Anjana asked, "Who is ready to leap over this wide ocean to rescue Sita? Please step forward." But the monkeys admitted they did not feel capable of performing this feat. Jambavan then said, "Don't you worry, we have Hanuman, who is equal to Garuda. I consider him alone capable of accomplishing and executing our mission. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada is the one who identifies the strength of his followers and inspires us, encourages us to engage in the selfless service of the Lord. So Hanuman was encouraged. He expanded himself into a gigantic form. To encourage the despondent monkeys, he spoke of his own glories. I can go around Mount Meru 1,000 times without pausing. By splashing the ocean waters, I can inundate the whole world. I can circumambulate Garuda 1,000 times as he flies in the sky. I can uproot the entire city of Lanka. All the monkeys were thrilled. Hanuman's mood of selfless service reassured the monkeys that this task that seemed impossible was actually quite possible, with a mood of what? Selfless service. When Hanuman met Sita in Lanka, he encouraged her in a different way. Sita wondered, can the monkeys actually cross the ocean and reach Lanka? To reassure her, Hanuman said, all the monkeys in Sugriva's army are equal to or superior to me. Surely they will all easily reach Lanka. It is only inferior persons like me who are sent as messengers. Mother Sita, please give up all of your doubts. Before Hanuman jumped across the ocean, he offered his obeisances to his father, his teacher, and to Indra. Because a humble person offers respect to great souls, seeking their blessings for the success of their mission. Hanuman then drew his breath and suddenly sprang into the air like an arrow shot from the bow of Lord Ram, ready to perform selfless service. As Hanuman soared through the sky, the ocean deity desired to assist him. I request you stop a while and accept my hospitality. But completely focused on his mission, Hanuman replied, please excuse me, my time is short. I cannot dare to stop to accept your hospitality. As Hanuman continued on his journey, a huge demoness named Surasa emerged from the ocean, blocking his path. She told Hanuman, I have a benediction from Lord Rama that I can eat whatever comes in front of me. O great monkey, now you should enter my gaping mouth. Hanuman said, I am on a mission to find Lord Ram's kidnapped wife, Sita Devi. But after finding her and returning and reporting back to Ram, I will return to you and enter your mouth. As Hanuman soared through the sky on his way, suddenly he could move no farther. His first thought was that he was losing his strength, but then he noticed a huge, ghastly creature emerging from the sea named Simika. She was a cannibal with special powers. She grabbed Hanuman's shadow to stop him. Simika rushed towards Hanuman with her wide open mouth to swallow Hanuman. But Hanuman expanded his body. But he realized that her mouth was still too wide. So what did he do? The sharp-witted Hanuman reversed his strategy, and suddenly he shrank himself into a tiny form and entered into her mouth. He tore her heart to pieces, and he came out of her body. He then resumed his expanded form and continued on his journey. As she fell dead into the water, celestial beings glorified Hanuman for his victory. More determination to selflessly serve. In this way, Hanuman crossed many obstacles, but he reached the city of Lanka. Even after his eventful jump, Hanuman did not feel even slightly tired. Why? because his heart was filled with love for Lord Ram. His body, his mind, and his intelligence were focused on his service to Lord Ram. So, what are we learning about selfless service from these pastimes of Lord Ramacandra? When devotional service is performed with a selfless intention for the pleasure of the Lord, there is no possibility of boredom or exhaustion, despite many difficulties. Although facing several impediments during his journey, Hanuman successfully accomplished his mission. Similarly, those of us who are aspiring to practice Bhakti Yoga, we may encounter many struggles with various unwanted habits and mentalities, but still, due to the encouragement available from Lord Krishna, a sincere practitioner is not exhausted by these struggles. Later, Hanuman found Sita Devi, and he consoled her. He burned the golden city of Lanka, and he returned to Lord Ram and gave him the good news of Sita's whereabouts. Ram lovingly embraced Hanuman for his exceptional service. So another lesson we learn from the pastimes of Lord Ramacandra: obstacles are obstacles only when we see them so, but when we see all challenges as a part of the Lord's merciful nature, those obstacles seem very insignificant. The Lord's empowerment and blessings can equip even monkeys, bears, vultures, and squirrels to accomplish unimaginable missions. In the same way, Srila Prabhupada's journey across the ocean to come and give us the method to perform selfless service should motivate all of us to endeavor to become actual selfless servants. In the Ramayana, you read about another selfless servant, the heroic bird Jatayu. He laid down his life to protect Mother Sita as she was being unlawfully carried away by Ravana. Sita told the bird just to inform her husband Ram about her abduction, and that Ram would certainly come to protect her. But Jatayu, feeling outraged at Ravana's hideous acts, decided to try and save her from his clutches. Jatayu was not expected to fight to protect Sita. He was old, and he would certainly lose the battle. However, unable to tolerate this offense to Mother Sita, he attacked, knowing fully well that he would be killed because he was too old. But to serve Ram, he gave all of his efforts, and with his two old wings, he attacked Ravana. Ravana, on the other hand, possessed strong arms. He brought down Jatayu, but not before the warrior bird destroyed Ravana's chariot and his charioteer. So why would Jatayu risk his life? What was his motivation? Selfless service. Selfless service to the Supreme Lord. He embodies the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who taught the ideal aspiration of a devotee. Quote, "O Lord of the universe, I do not desire material wealth, materialistic followers, a beautiful wife, or fruitive activities described in flowery language. All I want, life after life, is unmotivated devotional service to you." So, our spiritual advancement depends on cultivating this mood of selfless service. The more a devotee grows in his spiritual life, the more he becomes feeling capable of performing selfless service. The desire increases, the Lord reciprocates, and that is the relationship that takes place as a result of attempting. I think it's rare that any of us can actually perform selfless service without a motivation. But our attempt, because Christian's in our heart, he knows what we are trying to do, he knows what we're giving, he knows what we're holding back. And as long as we are attempting, then he is facilitating more growth and more progress on our journey. So, I have only a few minutes left before it's time for the sermon. As I was doing my research, I found something that Sri Prabhupada said. He said, there is no difference between his form, his name, his pastimes, and himself. He is absolute. Therefore, you chant the holy name of Ram, you seek the statue of Ram, the deity of Ram, you read his pastimes, everything. That means you are associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada says, we take advantage of these festival days when the incarnation of God appears or disappears. And we try to associate with him. Because by associating, we become purified. Our process, the Krishna consciousness process, is purification. Krishna consciousness means simply we are purifying our consciousness by doing what? Seeing the deity, serving, reading, chanting. So, of course, there are some people who are new. They ask the question, what is the purpose of deity worship? You know, where is your Lord? How can you associate with him? Prabhupada tells us there is no difference, first of all, between Ram and Krishna. Both of them are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are expansions of the same absolute truth. Because some people have questions. Who is top? What is the difference? Ram or Krishna? Prabhupada assures us that they are the same. When I was putting up the schedule in the lobby last week, one guest asked me, what's happening? And I said, we're going to be celebrating the appearance day of Lord Ramacandra. And she said, who is Lord Ramacandra? So I thought, wow, we need a little bit of an explanation of incarnations. So I did my research and I saw something that said incarnations come for a variety of reasons. They come to show spiritual practices for the age that we live in. They come to give us a glimpse of life in the spiritual world. And their actions become topics for discussion to liberate devotees. How? To free our mind, to help us understand that there is a spiritual world beyond this world. And Krishna's name, Srila Prabhupada says, as in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, are also considered one of his primary avatars. I find it interesting because a lot of my research I found in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but here I found a quote actually in the Gita. And I found it because I was looking for something that addressed the concept that Lord Ramacandra is the ideal king, and that is why we worship him. And I saw something what Srila Prabhupada said. Although Lord Ram was certainly the ideal king, he explains that we did not worship him for this reason. Srila Prabhupada says Maharaj Yudhisthira was also as good as Ramacandra. Maharaj Parikshit was as good. There were many such kings, but we are not concerned that he was a king. He is the king of all kings, Parmeshwara, because he is God. Therefore, today we are observing, not because he's king, because he's God. This was from a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave in Hawaii in 1969. So, a lot of my research was in the ninth canto. It talks about the journey from getting Sita as a wife, going to kill Ravana, coming back to Ayodhya. Most of us know these stories, but now we also know that journey involved the engagement of so many servants who were serving Krishna, Lord Ram, selflessly. I read something that said that bow that Lord Ram had, it took 300 men to carry that bow, but he broke it. So I think it was very obvious that he was the one for Sita. The Lord achieved the hand of Mother Sita. She was equally endowed with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, behavior, age, and nature. Indeed, she was the goddess of fortune who constantly rests on the chest of the Lord. And as I was reading, I remember Srila Prabhupada, I found some things where Srila Prabhupada was talking about. This is what made it so, I guess, offensive for Ravana to try and enjoy Sita, because Sita was special. She was not an ordinary human being. We know the story of Lord Ram starts with the day before his reincarnation, his coronation. His father's wife said, "You owe me, and now I'm going to collect on your promise. I want you to banish Ram, and my son Bart will take the throne." So Lord Ramacandra left his kingdom, his opulence, his friends, his well-wishers, his residence, and everything. We know about the deer that Sita saw, and she wanted Ram to go after the deer. We know that Ravana sent this deer to distract Ram. So while wandering in the forest trying to find the deer, Lord Ramacandra deformed Ravana's sister. He cut off her nose, and he also killed many of her friends. In the meantime, Ravana went to kidnap Sita, and here we have where Jatayu could not stop Ravana, but at least he got in his way. He interfered. Srila Prabhupada says, Sita is Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and she is never to be enjoyed by any living being. A materialistic man like Ravana does not understand this great truth. He tried to snatch Sita, but then his miseries began. In that same lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave in Hawaii, he explains, Sita Devi is meant to be worshipped by living beings, along with her husband, Lord Ramacandra, not enjoyed by any material mentality. When Sita was kidnapped, Lord Ram, accompanied by Lakshman, searched for her throughout the forest. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman, the king of monkeys, and his younger brother, Lakshman. They both gave Lord Ram relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest. Previously, Hanuman had set fire to Lanka, and now he was going to help Ram kill all of the Rakshasa soldiers. After reaching the beach, Lord Ramacandra fasted for 3 days, awaiting the arrival of the ocean personified. When the ocean did not come, the Lord exhibited his pastimes of anger, and simply by glancing over the ocean, all the living entities within, including the crocodiles and sharks, were agitated by fear. Then the personified ocean fearfully approached Lord Ram, taking all paraphernalia to worship him. Srila Prabhupada says one feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramacandra, is omnipotence. The Lord can act without regard to any material impediments or inconveniences. And to prove that he is the supreme personality of Godhead, he constructed a bridge over the water with stones. This, Sri Prabhupada says, this is proof of God's uncommonly wonderful power. And many times when I have discussions with people who come to visit the temple, they say, how do you know? How do you know? And can God really do that? And I say, that is the definition of God. You cannot put a limit on God. Maybe your perception, you're thinking of your friend, your boss, President of the United States, but God is above all of them. Those people don't think they have limits, and God definitely does not have any limits. And Prabhupada says, this is proof of God's uncommon, wonderful power. So, Lord Ramacandra found Ravana, and he shot him. He pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his airplane. And Srila Prabhupada makes this comparison. Just as a pious man falls to earth from the heavenly planets, when the results of his pious activities are exhausted. Ravana was powerful. And when I was reading this, it made me think about Hiranyakashipu, who was powerful, but not more powerful than Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, it states that an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures, having a beginning and an end, so the wise man does not delight in them. And I thought about, why is this connected to the pastimes of Ram and Ravana? Because Ravana is an example of someone whose mind is covered, who's unintelligent, even though he may have material potency, because he was looking to enjoy. He had a lot of power, but that all came to an end. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth, and therefore, the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is known as Ram. So, we know Ravana was very advanced, but materially, so much so that he turned his kingdom Lanka into pure gold. It was full of material wealth, but because he did not recognize the supremacy of Lord Ramacandra, he defied him by stealing his wife Sita. Ravana was killed as a result of this offense, and all of his opulences and his power were destroyed. I think of the connection where Prabhupada has this verse in the Gita, the same thing. Same thing with Hiranyakashipu. You may become powerful, but when you make that mistake of questioning the power of Krishna, you have begun the end of your journey. Just as a pious man falls to the earth from heavenly planets, this is the same thing as Ravana falling from his throne, from his existence of power. After killing Ravana, Lord Ramacandra went to find Sita. He found her. She was lean and thin, being aggrieved because of separation from him. Seeing his wife in that condition, Lord Ram was very compassionate. When Ramacandra came before her, Sita was exceedingly happy to see her beloved, and her lotus-like mouth showed her joy. So, Lord Ram kills Ravana, gets his wife, returns to his capital, Ayodhya. When I was reading, I didn't know this because I hadn't studied that much, but I heard that when it was time for Ram to take the throne, he came into the assembly and everybody was quiet. No one was looking at him, only his mother. And he said, "Mother, what is wrong? What's happening? Where's Ram? Where's my father?" When she told him that she had asked Dasara to banish Ram. He said, Mother, what have you done? So I read that the whole time that Ram was gone, Bart was living very simply. He was lamenting Ram's absence. So when Bart understood that Ram was returning to the capital, he immediately took upon his head Lord Ram's wooden shoes. Ramacandra entered the palace. He offered his obeisances to all his mothers, including the mother of Bart, who had asked for him to be sent away, and all of the other wives of King Dasara. So being pleased with the full surrender and submission of Lord Bart, Lord Ramacandra then accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father, and the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties of Varna and Ashram, accepted Ram as their father. Lord Ramacandra ki jai. Haribo. Time for Prashad. Jai. Thank you. Hey, you dressed up again.
Thank you. I want to say that